There are a lot of ways to play through Fallout New Vegas, different weapons to use, different playstyles to try out, and if nothing in the game makes it enough of a challenge, you could use something like a Guitar Hero controller or a flight stick to play the game. But even that doesn't solve the base problem. It's 2020, nobody wants to use their hands anymore. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with your feet? First things first. If you're in the Rat Movie Discord, there's a chance you already knew this. My big toes are big, like bordering on large. Also, there will be feet in this video, so if you're grossed out by feet, I'd suggest putting on your big boy pants and powering through this video anyway. Going into this, I did about as little prep as I possibly could. Pretty much all I did was make sure I got my feet, the keyboard, mouse, and monitor within the webcam's view. If you were curious, this is what I see. Basically what I see as I'm going through this. I got a second monitor up there. It's actually the primary monitor. Then the game starts and hell arrives at my doorstep like one of those weird toenail monsters who sustains itself on your foot fungus. I named myself something appropriate that can easily be spelled using your feet. Spent 30 seconds trying to use the mouse to click on the next button, had my character, and very carefully navigated my way over to the vigor tester. Hitting that right arrow took some finagling, but there wasn't a chance in hell that I could hit those arrow keys to assign my special points, so I used my foot to hit the arrow keys to go back, and the up and down arrow keys to distribute the points. I was not interested in doing anything other than the bare minimum to beat the game. 10 in endurance to take damage, 10 in intelligence to get the most skill points upon leveling up, 10 in luck to boost all skills, and because of the casinos on the strip, and the rest didn't matter. I hit caps lock so I could slowly waddle my way over to the couch to answer Doc Mitchell's questions. Normally, I would spam my way through this as quickly as possible. That's not so easy here, as you have to click the left mouse button to skip dialogue. That sounds easy, but with a big toe the size of a small car, it's easier said than done. Upside is, the arrow keys can navigate the dialogue options, and enter can choose them. Same goes for skills. I knew combat was effectively out of the question. Aiming with a Guitar Hero controller is tough. Aiming with a foot and a mouse is impossible. I went with barter, medicine, and speech as my skills, good-natured as my first trait to boost speech, and skilled to boost all skills. I made my way to Doc Mitchell's front door, made sure not to accidentally activate hardcore mode, and left to explore the Mojave Wasteland. I'll just tell you this now, this was about 150 times harder than playing with a Guitar Hero controller. Sure, with a guitar, your controls are extremely limited. You basically only have like 10 buttons to work with, and some of those have to control movement and looking around. But you can at least have some level of control over what you're doing. Think about it this way. A Guitar Hero controller is making a left turn the way you normally would. Sit at the light, go through when it's clear, whatever. Playing with your feet is like putting on a blindfold before you even know you're turning, wearing earmuffs so you hear nothing, and using your knees to turn whenever you think you should be going left. Are you at an intersection? It doesn't matter, you're going left even if it kills you. The saving grace here is the Q key. Unlike a lot of games, Fallout has an auto-run key. Press it once and you're moving until you stop. Inside Chet's shop, I attempted as best I could to barter with him. Using a scroll wheel with your toe isn't fun. Hitting small buttons isn't fun either. Not being able to put up with this anymore, I settled on buying 7 stim packs and being on my way. I got myself outside, hit that auto-run key, and it was smooth sailing for a bit. You still have to make sure you're going the way you should be, but anyone who's played mini-golf is capable of very slightly nudging a small object to make adjustments to something that an ordinary citizen wouldn't be able to notice. I discovered Gene skydiving. I needed all the XP I could get. Passed by a few powder gangers, corrected my direction to avoid having to kill those dogs that are in that overturned train car, and arrived at Sloan, where of course I could meet Snuffles and fix his leg. Any doctor worth their weight in styrofoam cups can fix a broken leg with their feet. I'm not a doctor, but I did go to high school with someone who is now a registered nurse, so I think I know a thing or two about medicine. The goal here is the strip, but my immediate objective is getting past the death claws infesting Quarry Junction. Just like in the Guitar Hero controller video, or really any low-level journey through this area, your options for engaging the death claws are practically non-existent. Combat isn't an option when they laugh off everything you throw at them. I immediately went right, knowing that there was a way around the junction. Hitting those little OK boxes was a challenge of its own. I made sure to discover Hidden Valley before ignoring the bark scorpions and getting uncomfortably close to Black Mountain. After Neil interrupted me, I somehow managed to jump my way up this rock and make my way to the cliffside overlooking Quarry Junction, allowing me to get by the Deathclaws without being ripped to shreds. Clear of the Deathclaws, I kept going towards the east as my plan was to stop by Boulder City before heading to the Strip. I lacked the caps to pass the credit check at the gate and had no chance at being able to take out an NCR trooper guarding the south wall of Camp McCarran in order to get one of their uniforms and take the monorail into the Strip. But I got distracted by thinking ahead when I arrived at 188 Trading Post. I talked to Veronica and got her to accompany me on my sockless adventure. With her by my side, I could easily fast travel back to Hidden Valley and talk to the Brotherhood to be done with their part of the game. Fast traveling isn't fun. You've got to click on the map and drag it around to move it. Doing that with a foot is rather annoying. Thankfully, with Veronica eager to murder innocent creatures, I didn't have to deal with the bark scorpions outside the bunker. She got me inside. I said goodbye to Paladin Ramos. I looked in the right direction, left the bunker, returned to 188 Trading Post by way of Sloan, accidentally activated VATS when I tried to jump over a picnic table, as one does, and headed towards the Strip. A solid chunk of this map in this general area is empty desert. The only obstacles in my way were rocks that I had to avoid and a family of bighorners that I let Veronica punch to death while I tried my best to run in circles. I did a sort of squiggly line, didn't get anywhere near a circle, got pretty close to the gun runners but didn't discover it, and went towards the gunfire. Fiends and the NCR always fight here. I figured that with a shotgun, I could blast away in the general direction of the soldiers. They would get pissed at me, then Veronica could kill them for me. Believe it or not, just shooting in their general direction without accidentally going into third person was a challenge. In an effort to lower my required accuracy from barely anything to impossible to miss, I whipped out a grenade launcher that I'd had since birth and wiped out the NCR troopers. My ability to walk in straight lines, slightly look down, loot bodies, and repair weapons and armor surprised me. The mouse wasn't required here. Everything could be done with a keyboard, and before I knew it, I had myself an NCR uniform and was ready to enter the Strip. I leveled up and dumped every point into speech, then chose Swift Learner as my perk. No other perk really seemed all that useful. Turns out, I'm not the New Vegas expert I thinked myself to be, or playing without the use of my fingers threw me off. I'll say it was that. I couldn't remember where the entrance to Camp McCarran was. I took the long way around the Sharecropper Farms, said howdy to the gun runners, discovered Freeside's East Gate, then figured that if I was out that way, I might as well bite the bullet and take care of the boomers. It was mostly a straight shot there. I'd never taken the train tracks into their territory before. I thought maybe they wouldn't attack me if I went that way. As their shells rained down from the heavens and shredded my delicate little legs to pieces, I knew that I did not got this like I thought I did. The second time around, I killed George to loot his body and reclaim the 427 bottle caps that he had been holding for me, and with stim packs bound to the 7 key, I entered the blast zone. Veronica did not last long, and had it not been for the stim packs, I wouldn't have lasted long either. The artillery shells landing and detonating inches away from your feet doesn't do good things to your legs. Boomer guy spoke to me, Raquel led me to Pearl, I convinced her to welcome me into their community with loving legs. I struggled to bring up the world map and fast travel back to the Sharecropper Farms, and I began looking for Camp McCarran again. I went back around to where I tricked that NCR soldier into giving me his uniform. The game crashed, and I was back at Nellis. This time I went the opposite direction, and as luck would have it, I found the base in record time. Nobody batted an eye at this guy walking on his feet and wearing a uniform covered in dried blood. I mastered the art of climbing stairs, rode the monorail, failed at entering a door twice, 4 eyes, wished he could carry guns like I could. I spoke to Victor, and waddled towards my destiny. I chose violence inside the tops, because it would certainly be difficult to annihilate a bunch of men in suits with a grenade launcher at close range. It would also be annoying to have to go all the way to Cottonwood Cove to get the platinum chip from the Salad King. Shot 1 broke my legs. After accidentally hitting the F key a few times, shot 2 broke more limbs. By shot 4, pretty much everyone at the front door was a puddle of corpse on the floor. I shot at nothing, thinking Benny was there but just hadn't rendered. A few more goons came after me and, very stupidly, I pulled out a rifle. Worthless fact, at this exact moment in time, as I write this very sentence, I'm listening to mayonnaise in the Mitten Squad Discord server. I'm not joking about the mayonnaise. It's really happening. And it's really beautiful. I somehow managed to kill one person with a rifle. Then, after most of my health was gone, I got a second person with it. All that remained was Benny. I tried the rifle again, but a lot can change in the span of 9 seconds. My accuracy isn't what it used to be. To his credit, he took the first shot like a champ. Because I skipped Boulder City, killing Benifer leveled me up 3 times. After the 3rd level up, I got speech up to 99. It would have been 100, but my toe slipped and I put a point into medicine, and began the painful process of looting all the bodies by the door and repairing all their stuff. I wasn't going to use any of it. A jack-in-the-box would be more effective with a revolver than I would, but I wanted their valuable items to either send back to their families, along with a note that I killed them, or to send to someone to get caps to buy more medical supplies. Yes Man was next. You didn't think I'd put any effort into this playthrough, did you? Getting through all his dialogue was a chore, and I probably could have saved myself some time by only meeting him after I encountered all the factions I'd need to meet. Oh well. As the saying goes, my feet are made for walking. I checked in on the white gloves since I was in their area. All I had to do here was talk to Mortimer. He rudely explained that someone of my caliber wasn't welcome. He seemed to discriminate against those of us with feet. If I had something other than feet, I'd make him pay for those remarks. Gamora was easy as well. Go inside, refuse to disarm. I don't have arms, I only have feet. Veronica strategically stood in front of me to shield me from the bullets, and I entered the Lucky 38 to finally meet Mr. House, who, fun fact, will be born in July of this year. His presentation was one of the worst I've ever seen, almost as bad as my high school speech about why you should go to Chuck E. Cheese for spring break instead of someplace stupid like Mexico or North Dakota. House paid me my 1,000 caps, gave me the chip back, and I betrayed his trust that I just spent the last few minutes building. I'm fairly certain you can use the arrow keys to navigate the terminal, but I didn't. If I'm using this computer with my feet, it only makes sense to use a virtual computer with my hands being controlled by feet. House was cranky after his nap. Something tells me he won't pull that kind of a stunt again. Parents take note on how I handled that situation. Outside, I regained Veronica's companionship, fast traveled to Crimson Caravan Company, and made my way north, then south, around the edge of the strip towards one of the main roads. I pointed this out as I was playing. The audio was from my computer on the floor recording my feet and the second monitor, so the audio wasn't that great. Nevertheless, I saw the sign. I knew that things looked wrong. Wires were hanging in the air, like a pair of sneakers tossed over a phone line, and part of this building couldn't decide if it wanted to exist or not. Big decisions have big ramifications, as does the inability to make a decision, which can cause all sorts of problems, as that in and of itself is a decision. The big metal sculptures were back after reloading the game. Some Neanderthals gave me their bullets to hold in a pretty rude way. I put my stim packs back on the 7 key where they belonged, barely avoided falling to my death, noticed some really weird looking building that was no doubt an illusion, spent almost 20 seconds marking Red Rock Canyon on my map, continued walking in about as straight a path as I could with my toes, and before long, I was in Red Rock Canyon. I didn't talk to anyone there or kill anything. There was no point. I simply got to the center of the canyon and was done. Then I remembered that I still hadn't gotten into the strip the right way, so I had to once again put on my NCR uniform and ride the monorail into the community. Almost everything that needed to be done had been done, and Yes Man was finally ready to join me at the Lucky 38. He's a real gentleman. He stayed in his walled-off closet to watch me sleep in his dead master's bed. For the first time, I actually made the quest I was trying to complete, my active quest, just to make my life a little easier. I contemplated gambling at one of the casinos. What better way to intimidate everyone else at the blackjack table than by holding my cards with my feet? But I was pretty confident that I wouldn't need any of the caps. Yes Man spasmed his way into Mr. House's shell. I got a little close to my favorite sycophant, told him about all the people I didn't care about. He listened to me so well. I let him know that President Kimball could die horrifically. I was shunned by some people who didn't matter, and I was inching ever closer to the end of the line. My last stop was the El Dorado substation to insert an override chip. Veronica was nowhere to be found. The substation is a pretty far distance away from any place I'd ever been. Good news is, I'm pretty great at avoiding confrontation. Not only did nobody on the way to the station want anything to do with me, there was nobody there who could have tried to engage me in conversation. It was heaven. I slammed my feet into the terminal until something happened. None of the soldiers cared all that much, probably because of the uniform I was still wearing. I returned to Camp McCarran one final time to ride the monorail, entered the Lucky 38, found Veronica, and told Yes Man I was ready to take the fight to the Hoover Dam. My plan for the dam was simple: ignore everything at all costs. My NCR uniform let me sneaky my way by all the NCR soldiers at the front of the dam. The Legion soldiers were busy murdering and dealing with the profligates, and I found myself inside the Hoover Dam offices. I installed the override chip, got my final marching orders from Yes Man, and everyone started being mean to me. It was worth it. Being on fire really makes the Pip-Boy look cool. I also went ahead and switched over to my metal armor for more damage resistance. No point in looking like a jackass any longer than I had to. After doing some RNG manipulation, by walking to the wrong door not once, not twice, but 3 times, I found myself at Hoover Dam Power Plant Level 1. My legs bent in ways I never thought possible when I hit that switch. I exited the offices, made an emergency backup save once I was back outside. The Securitrons handled the Legion better than I would have expected, and the game crashed. Again, this was planned. It was all part of the plan. The second time around, the wheelie bots did less damage against the Legion. One even got in my way and very slightly inconvenienced me. In the Legate's camp, I put my weapon away to maximize my speed. The Praetorians with their fancy hand-powered weaponry weren't enough to deter me from my mission. I forgot to save before talking to the Legate, so I had to be very careful to not select the wrong option when talking to him. Combat was not an option. I took my time, and with the precision of a surgeon who lost his medical license after being sued for malpractice, I chose the correct box every single time. General Oliver's arrival was loud and obnoxious enough to send shivers down my heel. I convinced him to live to fight another day, ran into the loving legs of Yes Man, and I beat Fallout New Vegas with my feet. And that's gonna do it for this video about whether or not you can beat Fallout New Vegas with your feet. If you enjoyed the video or liked looking at my toes for the last 15 minutes, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Thanks to the Champion Tier supporters as well as other channel members for helping make videos like this one possible. Join the Mitten Squad Discord server through a link in the video description. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.